This is the show that has hosted everyone from Sugar Ray Leonard to Keith One-Time Thurman. This is Tough Talk Tonight, brought to you by Heavy Bag Boxing.
Welcome to another episode of Tough Talk Tuesday. I'm your host, Lucas Bickers. Alongside me, I got Rob, I got James, I got Sakura. How's it going, everybody?
Very good.
What's up?
We got the return of Iron Mike, Tyson. Super excited for that. But before we get into that, we got a lot of other stuff to touch on here. Let's discuss this past weekend stuff. Let's talk thoughts on Boots and Bam. Did they impress? How did they look, everybody?
Both good. Particularly Bam. He seemed to be in control more so than Boots. Boots kind of struggled a little bit, but he had a really, really good opponent, and I thoroughly enjoyed the fight. So what do you guys think?
I think Bam looked a little better than Boots myself. I think Boots struggled a little, but Rob, will you get ready to say something? I didn't mean to cut you off.
Well, yeah, Bam impressive. Boots, and he was just all right. Anytime you have, a first round knockout, second round knockout from Bam, it's hard to beat that. As far as Boots, this is the second time fighting the guy. The guy looked a hell of a lot better in this fight coming in. Did what he needed to do to survive. But the biggest knock I have on Boots is if you're gonna dominate the fight, don't get frustrated. Don't make yourself look frustrated out there because it kind of loses your value in that fight.
That's fair. Sakura?
Yes, I love the Bam KO second round. It's very impressive. There was some other fights on the card too that I enjoyed, I must say. And so Bam is definitely impressive, and we might have wanted to end the night. If it hadn't been in Philly, maybe Bam could have had it been the main event and left us with a KO as the last the last thing that we saw as boxing fans is that KO. But since it was in Philly, I see why they had Boots at the top of the card. And I was very impressed with the fact that his opponent, which I'm going to butcher his name. That's the only thing, right? Chaka. I know it was close to Shaka Khan because they were making fun of it.
Hey, nobody can blame me for messing that one up.
Chukazan, I think that's the way you say it. But I felt like people, doubted his abilities, and kind of, since we don't know him or we haven't seen a lot of them, we automatically put them in that C-level boxer category, which we shouldn't be doing that. And his performance is basically like another way of saying that, because he was tricky in there, he was being offensive, and I think that it also frustrated Boots because he was expecting him to be the guy that did a lot of movement and kind of like ran around the ring as the first fight. And in this fight, he surprised him. Shakazan surprised him by being there and being in the pocket and being available to hit. So, I mean, it kind of like, and he was landing some things on Boots that we've never seen anybody land on him before. And so I definitely want to see him fight again. Boots, of course, we want to see him go ahead and fight some of the bigger names. I didn't really appreciate when he was saying, that Shakazan wasn't top level. He wanted to fight top level fights. Well, how are we to want you to fight and see you in these top level fights, which to me just equals to big names with bigger purses? That's what you're looking for. But if we want to see these fights, you have to really look good against a Ukrainian that came with a different style than you originally felt he probably was going to have. So, that was my only criticism about it. Of course, Boots still won,
You,
obviously,
you know,
but I think I think it was closer than what the card said. But at the same time, I didn't think that Shaka Zahn did enough, because you are in there with a super talented heavy puncher in Boots. So he wasn't in danger of losing that fight, but it was just the fact that it's kind of like another blueprint on what you can do with someone like Boots when he does get in there with a bigger name, um, with a bigger purse type fighter. So I give him a lot of credit that nobody else wants to give him. And also, I was the only one that said that it would go the distance and it would be a unanimous decision. And the reason why I did that is because I remember him being a Ukrainian. I got to give this Ukrainian boxing team big ups, because, they're leaps and bounds what European boxers used to be. And now when you fight a Ukrainian, you know that you're gonna get hit with some angles. You're gonna get hit with somebody that has a few tricks up their sleeve, boxing movement, foot movement, etc., etc. So because it was a Ukrainian, I knew that that was a better boxing community that they have now, and then also the fact that he had already had 12 rounds with Boots and went the distance. I knew he had a decent chin. So those are the two reasons why I did that. But I gotta have my moment in the sun, like Rob, right? When he gets it right.
No, that's true. Last
Everybody
take
hears
on
Rob
my
gets it
opinion
right.
on it. It's a chink in the armor of Boots, and the reason why I say that chink in the armor is because you want to say you're elite, and then you want to talk down on your opponent who went the distance with you, and then you want to automatically say, well, you're moving up in weight. And it's time to move up in weight when you just fought a guy who went 12 rounds with you that shouldn't have. And then the corner preaches the knockout the whole damn fight, but doesn't tell you how to knock the guy out. It's a chink in the armor. Go back to the fucking drawing board and get your shit right.
I
Pardon me, I'm
mean,
passionate tonight.
I'm saying I don't. I gotta talk to my corner. I gotta have a sit down and be like, what is going on? Because yeah, but why is he still in here? Like, motherfucker, help me get him out. Like, why you keep saying that? Like,
But again,
I
it
I don't know.
it's the frustration. You can't be frustrated. Break them down. Break them down. Sergio Mora was absolutely right. You don't need to knock this guy's head off. The knockout will come. Break him down. It was a simple game plan, and he didn't execute. Nor did they tell him how to.
Not enough detailed information other than just get him out of there. I agree.
I mean, I just still feel like, that Ukrainian had some tricks up his sleeves, and he was making it, he kept turning Boots. He kept turning him, and it made him not be able to set in his feet, to get his punches off the way he wants to deliver a knockout. And it was a disservice. I think the fact that Bozy was, basically he kept being like, get the knockout, his dad was, but it's like it was making him look more vulnerable because he was trying to go in and get the knockout. So that made him more vulnerable, and giving, closer distancing between him and Chukazan is like it was giving him the type of fight that he needed, by telling him to just go in there and get the KO. So I didn't agree with that, but at the same time, maybe somebody had some money on Boots getting a knockout in that fight or something, because they was like adamant that he needed to get this knockout.
Yeah, get him out of there. Get him out of there. Get him out of there. Like, okay, we hear you. You're a
that's
parrot. Just keep
But
repeating
yeah,
it.
you never doubt. I love the way Floyd Mayweather used to do this, where he would like talk shit about his opponent. Then after the fight, immediately he's like, "Yeah, he's an elite fighter. He's one of the best guys. He's gonna be a world champion one day." He then souped them up. Sometimes they deserved that, but other times it was like, He's only saying this because he knows, like, now that he's got this win over this opponent, he wants him to be more elite. Like, and I
Exactly.
like,
Yeah.
yeah, but I like that. Don't down your opponent after you just, like, got punches thrown at you that landed that never have landed with other opponents. Like, you don't then after the fact, say, oh, he's not top level. Well, guess what? He hung in there with you. So to me, that makes him top level. Now, is he a top paying boxer for you? No, that's a different story. So I think we got different definitions of what top level means now in the sport.
That's true. James, you were getting ready to say something?
Yeah, no, the scores are it's obviously unanimous, and the scores are pretty wide. Um, and still, he's struggled a little bit, but Chukadzian just brought a different fight from the first time around. In the first fight, he was a lot more defensive. Here, he really opened up, fought middle distance a lot better. So he really showed us a good side of him, really, really good account. And so I'm glad. But in the end, I think that what Boots Ennis is going to have to do is move up to 54, and there's a lot of good competition for him at 54. So this looks interesting.
For sure. I think 54 is going to be a little bit of a different story for him. So I'm looking to see how he looks when he actually comes in at weight. And
I mean, to
decent.
me, it's like
There's a
to
fight.
me, it's not about the weight. Okay, we're only 47 to 54. That's not a lot of weight. But the issue is what makes you, if you're having issues with people at 147 and you're the bigger guy in here in these fights, how do you think you're going to be received by 150, a natural 154 pounder in that division with all of the talent that still exists moving to that weight and is already there? Like, that's my feeling. It's
Exactly. And
That's kind of how I felt about Crawford, but I still want to see Crawford Boots.
I was just gonna say that too, Lucas. You see what happened with Crawford. You know what I'm saying? The difference to me though is I think Crawford knows he could do better and will make adjustments. Boots is
You
what we
don't think
need to
Boots
see.
thinks he can do better?
No, not the way that I don't think he knows how. The way that I did not like I did not like the body language in the corner at all. Period. I did not like the corner talk. None of that stuff.
I think he
But
was okay.
we'll
I
get
think he
to
was
it later on. But there's a fight, a big championship fight at 154 that interests me for Boots, and I'm not talking Crawford. I think he's down the level for that right now. I think he needs to step up and take on this championship, this championship fight. But we'll talk about that fight later on.
Later on in the show, or you just mean later on altogether?
Well, I'll tell you later on in the show. Yeah, we'll talk later on in it. There's a 154 title bout this weekend. I want to see him fight the winner.
No.
But I want to see him fight the winner of the Barrios versus
That's exactly what I'm
Ramos
talking
fight.
about. That's exactly what I'm talking about.
Oh,
Shika.
okay. Same one. Okay.
I'm still good with a Crawford fight myself, but we'll get there when
I
we
thought
get
that
there, I
fight was
guess.
at 147 though.
It's 147. That's
Yeah, they still at 147.
Barrios is a welterweight champ.
Yeah.
He's got a WBC belt.
Yeah,
Right.
he
And
has a
that's on
belt.
that.
I
But
thought it
they're
was 154. Didn't he beat Ugas at 154 for that title?
beat who?
147.
He's never fought at 54. But
Yeah.
soon,
Yeah, soon. It's gonna be soon for sure. Cause I mean, just look at, 147 is a division that has it's got some talent because I know that Jose Ramirez will be fighting this weekend at 147. Like now you're starting to see the 140-pound stable mates going up to the 147 division. So, but it's kind of like what I'm saying is like that welterweight division is transitioning right now. Like it's in a transition period. with different boxers.
For sure. All right, let's talk a little bit about this weekend's fights now. We got a Riyadh season card coming, and this one's no slacker either, guys. Big names. So I'm gonna work my way from the bottom up to the main event here. We got Williams Zepeda versus Tevin Farmer. I mean, that's a good fight. Oscar Duarte versus Kenneth Sims Jr. from Chicago.
Yeah,
We've had Sims on before. Hopefully,
Sims is my guy.
We got Oscar Collazo. He's there'd be two belts on the line in that fight. Collazo's WBO strawweight title at CP Freshmart's WBA strawweight title. Then you got Jose Ramirez and Arnold Barboza.
That is going to be one hell of a fight.
That is. And then, of course, you top it off with Gilberto Ramirez and Chris Billam-Smith. And that's for Ramirez.
At 200 pounds, by the way. That's the big takeaway for that. Like, I'm like, damn. I mean, Zordo, he is now like at heavyweight. Or what are they calling it? The Bridgerweight?
Well, he's not in Bridger yet.
I mean, he had 200 pounds.
Yeah. Cruiser,
Yeah,
he's 215, I believe, is Bridger weight, right?
I think it's 224,
200 to 225, I thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I thought it was like 215, 216 to something. I don't know. Bridger weight's the newest one, so it's always a little confusing for me.
Yeah, but it's just the fact that he went from 175 to 200 really quick.
And he looks really big.
Yeah, like I'm like, dang, that's a big boy.
Well, he's been shrinking down, yeah. So when you see somebody stop fighting it, you know they go way up there. And well, ESPN doesn't even like recognize Bridger weight. Okay.
No, not a lot. Not a lot do.
It's the WBA and the WBC that recognize it now.
Right. Not all four bodies do.
Gotcha. All right. And guys, like I said, those are all great fights. But honestly, I don't know if I can narrow it down. Which fight are you most excited for?
What, on this card or
on just that card? No, not the whole weekend. Just the Riyadh season card. We're gonna get to the other one here in a minute.
I mean, Jose Ramirez versus Ramos. To me, that's or what? Barboza. I'm sorry, I'm starting to get those two mixed up with the other card. That's the one for me. I like that.
Yeah, that's Ramirez against Arnold Barboza from Los Angeles. I believe he's from LA.
I don't think it's gonna last too long. Like that's one where I think I can safely say, like, I think that's a KO. I don't think that's gonna go 12 rounds. I can't see it.
My only concern, Ramirez has fought very, very few rounds in the last few years. I think he fought, if I remember correctly, a guy named Moranzes Bartholomew. A Cuban, and I think that fight ended pretty quickly. I think that was the same night where, if I remember correctly, it was Ortiz on the same card, and he also had a quick out. So they fought very few rounds.
Virtual.
Yeah. And so, yeah, that's one of the things that I'm concerned with. And then Arnold Barboza has seen a lot of action, and he's kind of a come forward, brawler. He can box. So he can, and he's undefeated. So he's a very, very talented fighter.
And he's been tired of waiting for his opportunity. That's the big thing. Yeah. Is like that mentality. I mean, he's going to be in killer instinct mode, I believe, because he's been passed over for a lot of fights that he thought he was going to get and he didn't get them. And so now, and that's at 140. So now he doesn't have to try to lose as much weight, and he's at 147. And Jose Ramirez is the biggest name that he's been able to, be matched up with. So I think that's an opportunity for him in his mind to be stand out.
Well, the promise here is that if Jose Carlos Ramirez does well, then he's got a shot at guys like Haney and Teofimo and Liam Paro and on down the line and Jack Catterall. So it looks really, really promising for him, and Barboza as well. There's no reason why he
Right.
wouldn't any of those shots. But yeah, it's kind of been a long road back for Ramirez. Hopefully, things pan out for him on Friday night. Friday? Yes.
Saturday during the day as well. So we have to make sure because those Saudi fights start earlier than we used to.
I'm not digging that.
So, Lucas, this one they're dubbing as Latino Night for Riyadh season. And boy, do we have some heat, some Latino heat on this one. I agree with you. Ramirez versus Barbosa is a interesting and a very intriguing fight. Barbosa is undefeated. To me, his last like 3 or 4 fights have been big. Naming the 2, Jose Pedraza, that victory, and then the previously unbeaten Zorrilla that he just last beat. So Barbosa is coming in hot, but he is very hungry for a title. However, that's not the biggest fight on the docket to me that I'm looking for. A very interesting fight for me is Zapata versus Tevin Farmer.
Okay.
The most interesting factor in this is that Tevin Farmer gets this shot at I believe this is either a title eliminator or something like that, after a loss, Lucas. After a loss. But
it happens a lot in boxing.
But that's because he looked really good in that last bout. He was overmatched.
Does that mean that you get a shot because you look good while losing?
Which is why this fight is interesting to me, Javi.
Right, I understand that. But this is why I believe boxing is full of BS sometimes, because of the double standards. If it was another guy, we will be here. Why he deserves a shot after he lost? But because it's somebody that we might like, then it's like, well, he did okay, so he deserves another shot. That's double standards, my brother.
Right.
Subjective.
Right. But I'm glad you disagree here. I'm glad you disagree.
Look, this is what I've been saying about the sport of boxing, and it makes me sick. It makes me sick because I get tired of it, man. This is like at the Super Bowl, the Chiefs are already there, right? But they say, nah, go ahead and let me face the Browns. I ain't gonna face somebody that deserves it. Give me the Browns. I'm gonna face the Browns. I'm gonna whip their ass. Like, that's what this is. There's nobody that forces that second guy, that contender, to actually come in here and fight. That's not how it is in boxing. That's how it never is. That's why the sport is in shambles right now.
I'm glad y'all disagree.
I had one thing.
It's for an internal help.
Go ahead, Shakur.
I just had one thing to say about it, and that's that, his Tevin Farmer's opponent that won, I believe it's Murataya. Thank you. If he had a title shot too, then there's no complaints. But because he didn't get the title shot yet, and now Tevin Farmer is having the title shot, that's what makes it seem like, well, why did I even go out of my way to win if I'm still not going to get that title opportunity that I need to make more money for my family? And that's what makes it unfair, is the fact that Mayatoya doesn't get he doesn't have that championship fight yet, even though he beat Tevin Farmer. So it's like Tevin Farmer should get that opportunity. I have no problem with him getting that opportunity based on his performance, but at the same time, then his opponent that beat him should also have a title shot somewhere.
Well, so that's a good point, and I didn't even see that, but that's a great point. So basically, you got 2 guys fighting for the title eliminator, and then the guy that won goes back to fight regular, and then the guy that lost gets another opportunity at the title.
Right.
Which is why the only reason why I'm interjecting here is because that's why I said this is a very interesting fight for me. But I'm glad you guys disagree. I'm picking Tevin Farmer. I think he's back. You
Nah,
heard it here first, people.
I'm definitely not picking Tevin in that fight.
Zapata is a beast. That's why James is laughing. Zapata is a beast.
Yeah.
I think Farmer needed that last fight to warm up. I think he needed it to get back in the thick of things. I think he's going to surprise y'all on Saturday night.
Okay.
That's why I called out that fight.
All right.
Right. The funny thing is, like, I'm actually with you. You disagree with me, but I actually picked Farmer to win as well. If you go back in the chat, I picked Farmer to win. Do I think he's deserving of the shot? No, that shot should be for Murataya. Now, Zepeda's a hell of a fighter, so he might be there to spoil the fight. But based on the quality of opponent that Farmer fought last time, even though he came up short, I believe he's probably better ready than whoever Cepeda's been fighting. Whoever Cepeda's been five opponents, because sometimes guys, they get fed these B plus, C plus fighters, and then they get used to that level, and then they don't really push to the next level because they get stuck at the level. They get comfortable with it. Then you put into the level with the A fighters, and they can't perform. Then some guys they might lose, but they fighting against elite level and A plus fighters. So whenever another A plus fighter, they might get the edge because they had the harder competition. They had to dig deeper. Now,
I just feel like size is gonna matter in this fight, and I feel like Tevin Farmer is too small to be able to handle somebody like Zepeda's power. I mean, that's what I see. I see a very uneven match, and the likelihood of him being able to outbox and outslip someone defensively the entire fight, that's kind of like you're gonna make some type of mistake somewhere in the fight.
Well,
Nobody can be perfect defensively unless your name is ending with Mayweather. I don't see how he can do that. So that's where I'm at with that. Even though I think that Tevin Farmer is the superior boxer as far as skill level.
As far as skill level, I think William Zepeda can easily outpunch him based on volume, and he's also really, really talented. And so the one thing I see about Tevin Farmer is that he's lost a lot of his step-ups. This one seems to be more of a setup for William Zepeda because I think his next opponent could be Shakur. I mean, there's been a lot of talk about him and Shakur and a few other 135 kingpins. That's what this is all about, is a step up for him. And you're right, Javi, he could look really good against, a good opponent like Zepeda because he's been there. He's been in the ring with some of the best. I just don't see it. I don't see it in his record. I don't see it in his style. I don't see it at all. But let's see. Hopefully he gives a good account. And it's a good match.
I thought they also were considering Keyshawn Davis for one of those fights, who was also very impressive last weekend.
This couldn't be any critical for Zepeda.
Right. Yeah. To be in
I know the kid has the volume and he has a little bit more power, but don't sleep on Farmer's boxing, man. He's slick in there. He's slippery, and sometimes when you have somebody that has the volume and power, if you make them miss, eventually you can frustrate them, throw them off their game, and that'd be it. That'd be it. You know what I'm saying? Because you can throw 100 punches around, you can have more power. If you're not landing some of your best punches, at some point that mental breakdown comes and be like, damn, and you start getting frustrated. They start being thrown off their game, and we've seen it time and time again where it's like the bigger puncher, the bigger guy with the reach and all the advantages get frustrated and just throws off his game.
That's true, but Tevin Farmer has to have an offense as well, which means he's got at some point he needs to be close. He needs to be able to get in and get out, and I'm not seeing how that is feasible. Like, I see him being able to be defensive minded. I just don't see where all this offense is going to come from that's going to affect a judge's card.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm kind of I'm with Sakura and James. I do believe that Zepeda is going to be too big, too powerful, and get Farmer out of there. Probably late round stoppage.
And youthful.
But what I was excited about was Oscar Duarte versus Kenneth Sims Jr. I think Sims is right on the cusp of title contender. And I didn't know this until just now, but unfortunately, it looks like that fight is not happening. Duarte is defending against a fill-in of some kind. It was 5 days ago. Kenneth Sims posted, and I quote, "Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the fight on November 16th in Riyadh. I was really disappointed as I was very excited to make my Saudi debut. I suffered a knee injury in training and was forced to pull out of the fight.
Right.
I started rehab on my knee, and I am making great progress and hope to resume training by the end of the year. Thank you to Golden Boy for supporting me. I was really looking forward to putting on a show on this huge card, but I will be back stronger than ever and on top of 2025. Stay tuned. Boss Man will be back." So that fight, unfortunately, is falling through. They got to fill in for Duarte, but I'm not. It's different Akhmedov.
That could have been a good fight, but I mean, at the same time, I'm sure they probably try to come out with a last minute replacement, and sometimes fighters don't want to deal with that. There's a lot of fighters where it's like one of their opponents drop, they offer a few people that can be a last minute replacement, and then sometimes they don't want to take that last minute replacement because they've been training for somebody for how many weeks, So they don't want to give yourself that chance. It's kind of like what happened to my boy Corey Maxman. He was supposed to be in this car with Mike Tyson and the undercard, and then he suffered an injury. Of course, just like any other fighter, he's working through it. He's not saying nothing. He's willing to go with the fight still, but eventually, it's like at some point, the team meet up and say, "Yo, is it worth it?" Because right now, you're taking the opportunities. It's there. It's hard to walk away from the opportunity. But you're there, and you're not gonna do what you're supposed to do. Is that even worth it? Or sometimes you gotta, even though the big opportunity of your life, you might have to pass by, put your health first, and play chess, not play checkers. So I feel like it
I
sucks.
hated to see Corey couldn't make that fight against
Yeah,
Body.
yeah,
Body was the one that knocked out Sylvie, Anderson Sylvie in the last Jake Paul fight. That was on July 20th. But
yeah,
and then Marksman won his fight that he had against Aguilar,
yeah,
which was a Christy Martin fighter. So that put them two together because apparently Body wasn't prepared to fight who Sylvie was gonna have to fight, which is Floyd Schofield. So, it's like a domino effect, Javi, where you
yeah,
see how like that whole circle got affected by,
It was.
this one and that one not being able to fight.
yeah.
It wasn't, and it's due to, the postponement. But I did want to talk about that when we do go into that fight card. Before we get into that, I do want to say one last thing about this fight card on Saturday, Lucas. Oscar De La Hoya is saying Ramirez Zerto versus Billam-Smith. The winner, he wants to try to get Usyk. That's a joke.
Yeah, okay.
Oh, we want to go straight up the ladder, huh?
That's
To
right.
top dog. Okay.
This is who's filling in.
Little background on that. There was an
Who is
interview.
this?
That's who's filling in for Kenneth Sims.
So he's fighting Duarte now.
Yeah.
Boy,
See, the guy is the southpaw.
on Akhmedov.
And James, I know what you're about to say. You're right. Usyk
He
has said
can
that
read you, James. He knows what you're gonna say.
Usyk has said he did want to go back down to cruiserweight,
No.
possibly.
Well, that is true. But what I was getting at is that in an interview recently, they asked Ramirez about his future, and he mentioned, moving up, fighting at, Bridger and then maybe heavyweight. He feels like he can. And so he dropped a few names, and Usyk was one of them. And I think when it gets to De La Hoya, it changes into more of a, this is what we're planning, this is the scheme, this is the goal. And it's not really like that. I mean, I didn't take it that way when Ramirez said that, but it was,
Just another name he threw out as a possible fight in the future.
He's definitely not committed. And if that fight comes for him, great, because I know he wants that challenge. I know him. He's a good dude. But we'll see. The funniest thing of all is that we're talking 5-on-5 with De La Hoya and Eddie Hearn putting on the main event. And
Yeah.
Oscar De La Hoya says he can knock him out in like 4 or 5 rounds or something.
I feel like I would want to see
They,
Zordo
they don't,
versus
guys
the
don't.
monster Benavidez. I think that's a good matchup.
Well,
That is a good matchup.
no, it is. It is. I'm just moving ahead a little bit here and saying that there's this possibility of a 5-on-5, and it looks really good, really interesting.
Yeah.
But the fact that Oscar De La Hoya is volunteering himself to fight Eddie Hearn is absolutely comical.
Yeah, it's hilarious.
But you know what? He's a promoter.
But I would like to see it at the same time. Those two like to go at each other. Clapback Thursdays is hilarious.
I'd love to see. I would love to get in the ring with Oscar De La Hoya.
I think Rob wants to fight Oscar himself. Let's move into Friday's card. They're on Netflix for the first time. We got a few different title fights. Let's start out here with Shadisha Green versus Melinda Watpool. 10 rounds for the vacant WBO women's super middleweight title. One of 2 women's title fights on this undercard,
which is excellent.
It is excellent.
I thought I didn't even know there was another women's fight. I thought it was just the Katie Taylor versus Serrano.
No,
I didn't even know
man,
there was another undercard.
You know, Most Valuable Promotions signed Shadisha Green too, so they're gonna put her on that card, and it's also a great opportunity for her to bounce back from the Franchise Cruz fight. So that's a good opportunity for her to get a title again. But I'm saying that cautiously because I don't haven't investigated her opponent's record or, looked into that. I don't recognize that name, but I haven't had time to look into her record or anything either. So we'll just wish for and hope for the best. But it's a great opportunity for women's boxing to be on the undercard of a Mike Tyson card like this on Netflix. I mean, it just the fact that it's visually available and it's a chance for more boxers around the boxing fans around the world to start embracing women's boxing more. So I hope they're able to live up to that moment and give the fans a really great fight. That's entertaining.
Yeah, it's going to be great for women's boxing. Not only that, but of course you're going to have the rematch of the 2022 Fight of the Year, which is Amanda Serrano versus Katie Taylor. I've been wanting this, so I'm super excited to see it. Now, this could be a main event in its own right, but to put it on as people are waiting to see Mike Tyson versus Jake Paul, you're not going to get better ratings than that. You're not going to get more eyes on women's boxing than that. So, I mean, that's going to be another huge fight. And then we have Mario Barrios versus Abel Ramos.
Yes,
guys,
that's going to be a good one too.
I am so excited about this fight.
Another championship fight too. And my bad earlier, you're right, James. They are at 147. What I meant to say was I would like to see Boots stay at 147 and take on the winner of this fight.
Yeah,
that's what I meant to say.
Yeah, that's what what I wanted to see too.
But that's a great fight too. So there's the 2 championship fights, right? 2 or 3, Lucas.
There's 3 title fights, right?
There's 3 title fights now on this bout. And then don't forget
2 women's, Marios Barrios, Abel Ramos.
Which is a great bout. And then
Taylor Serrano, of course, is undisputed. So
yeah.
And then also throw in little Shoo Carrington to start off the night. Yeah. So I actually think that this card is a major upgrade from what that first card was gonna be.
Did you just mention somebody under 130?
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that.
Why? Come on now, man. We're talking about I'm all business tonight. I'm passionate about this.
All right, let's really dive in.
Yeah, we can see that. We can see because you actually mentioning somebody less than 130, so we can see that you mean business today. So whenever you saying that 130 under doesn't matter, we know that's not business. We know you joking around.
Yeah. It's like, we got you. What I like about the card is that it included fighters that are assigned to different promotional groups and
Yeah,
and great matchups. So it kind of included a little bit of um, everyone's best to be on the card. So that's pretty cool. I do
yeah,
like that.
yeah,
Well,
definitely.
guys, let's talk a little bit about Ramos versus Barrios. Who do we like in this fight? How do you see the fight going? I mean, you, I'm I'm leaning towards Barrios in this fight. Ramos, he's 2-3 of his last 5, so he's lost 3 of his last 5. That's now you're talking some different competition. You're talking Ugas, you're talking Crawley, but then you're also talking Luke Santamaria,
Which is an underrated fighter. He is very underrated to me.
Underrated, but
Yeah, but
he
like I feel
has yet
like,
to really do anything.
but that's because people aren't fighting. He's not getting being matched up well. But what I wanted to say is, I mean, if we think about this is a great opportunity for both of those guys as well to get more fan base too. But I am leaning more towards Barrios for his level of competition um, that he's had so far leading up to this. And the fact that he's a former world champion at 140 before he met up with Tank. And he even did a great job in that fight. Um, so I do think that Barrios has a little bit better skill set probably than Ramos. So, but Ramos is a pretty good big guy too. Like they both are, it's like two big welterweights fighting each other. So it's appealing to me the most, and I'm most excited because I can't actually say 100% that I can predict the real winner in this, which means it's a great matchup.
I think it's a pretty decent match, but I see two things on Barrios. One is his record is pretty solid, but he seems to be improving with every fight.
That's true.
Be getting better and better, more accurate, harder puncher, better conditioning, stronger, better skills, better footwork. So I believe me, the odds makers have Barrios as a heavy favorite here. Abel Ramos, I think, is on the back end of his career. I don't see him being a top contender for much longer. He's lost 6 bouts. He's lost to some pretty decent fighters. He's had a good career. He's done well for himself, but I think this is all Barrios. So I'm thinking Barrios by decision. No case decision, but yeah, the guy really improved.
I mean the money line. You know how we do on Tough Talk. We always give money lines. The money line for this one, you are right. Barrios.
That's big.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are also, because they're more familiar with the name, they're automatically gonna go. The odds are automatically gonna go to Barrios.
That's
But
true.
now Abel Ramos, I don't know. Honestly, I never thought he was like a top contender. So for the level fighter that he is, he's actually doing great for himself. I think he's also got a youth part going on with him, so he's too young to like kind of like throw him off of the game yet. I think he's probably gotten as far as he's gonna be able to get, and that's okay. Not every fight is gonna be elite. Not every fight is gonna be great, but he should give him a good run for his money. I also think Barrios is gonna win by decision, but it ain't gonna be an easy night. You know what I'm saying? Now I think Ramos also has like a brother. I don't know if like on a bigger division or the smaller one, but
Yeah, 154. I think
right.
his.
So the brother, he's a little bit more of a fighter. I think I forgot his name, but I think they call it El Mono.
Jesus.
Jesus, right? So him,
Oh,
he's
he's the one that fought Jose Benavidez, right?
no. I don't think he fought Benavides,
No.
but
Oh,
On the
he
undercard.
he's the bigger person in most of the fights that he's got, and he actually has a better pedigree than his brother. So
Yeah.
when it comes to between them two, I think Mono Jesus, he's a little better fighter than Abel. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like Abel has done good enough to deserve that fight against Barrios, and Barrios kind of like, coming back into the picture straight, staying within the mix. So in case the top guys, they need a solid opponent, he's gonna be there. Like, he already built a name for himself. But
Yes.
I think it's gonna be an easy tax. I just don't see Ramos winning, but I also don't see Mario having a parade in there. He's gonna have to
Mhm.
work there.
Right. Yeah, that's a good synopsis. I like
I
that.
I
That would be a
I,
so.
I wholeheartedly agree with you on that. I wholeheartedly agree. I think Barrios is my man, okay? And he's been getting notoriety because he fought Tank and then he fought Keith Thurman. Yeah, both of those are losses, but he's been getting notoriety and now he's the champ at 147. I like to see him keep his winning ways, keep that title going because I want to see a bout against Boots.
Yeah, and it's a good matchup because it's like somebody that's, also he's going to have more experience coming into that fight if it does happen with Boots, and but they're similar sized, which I like. And it's what James said, is that every time Barrios fights, we're seeing him make major improvements. Like, it's visible in the ring that he's like honing in on his craft and becoming more and more talented. um and so that's why I like him. It's like he's into that improvement, for each fight. It's great.
And he's got a good walkout.
Yeah,
Okay. The
that's a good
Aztec
point. It's a
theme, the
good point.
Aztec themes is like,
Yeah.
I want to be Aztec now. Okay.
You got the
No,
color.
no, actually, you know what?
Tell me.
It's kind of like this guy in the UFC, Pereira. Man, when somebody bring their culture in it, and you can see that they actually believe in it, I think it gives them that mental edge. It's like they go back and they understand. Like, I don't know. I've seen them locking in and having a level of concentration that's beyond the normal, and that's because I guess they bring their culture with their ancestry, their bloodline. They when I don't know.
The
Fighters are
warrior
very sometimes
Aztec. Yes.
superstitious, and they have like a specific way to do things, or like a routine or some type of like tradition, and if it works for them and then make them work harder and win, go ahead. A lot of people also say that it could be like some type of witchcraft and blah blah blah. Who knows? You know what I'm saying? I think Deontay Wilder was trying to do that as well. I feel like Regis Progress also do it with the whole Rougarou thing for New Orleans and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
and that kind of brings like that original part of boxing, because
Mhm.
boxing is a very nationalistic sport, and if you compete from the same nation, then it goes back to like your race and your culture and what you're about. If the Indians, I don't know if you guys remember this one Indian guy, that
Hot
he
rod.
actually that
Talking
he
about
will
hot
bring.
rod.
No, he retired
A
already.
little red.
Little
No, he was like Mexican, but he was like with from those tribes in Mexico, and he had like this long big tail. He's already retired. He's been retired for 10 year plus, but he will
Ponce
also
de
bring.
Leon.
Pounce.
Ponce de Leon.
I
Right.
think that sounds familiar. But he will bring his whole culture, his whole tribe, and he will
Pounce.
train on the mountains with his people. And man, this guy, whenever he won or lost, he will bring it. And you could tell he was willing to die in the rain if he had to. And sometimes, it works for guys. I've seen it when guys bring their whole culture about it. It's like, they understand
Mhm.
that they push more because they're representing the whole people. And sometimes that makes a fighter like go the extra mile. You know what I'm saying?
The
So if it
extra
works for them,
that
and
they
he's gonna give us
need.
a hell of a
Yeah.
fight, I'm with it. I'm with the shits.
Yeah, and it also introduces boxing fans to different cultures,
Yeah,
and
for
it
sure.
makes them be able to be more, acknowledgeable of different things that different ethnicities do. It's
Yeah,
a great opportunity to just, immerse yourself in different cultures too. So I like it.
yeah,
But I'm going for the Aztec warrior this weekend.
yeah. Me
yes.
too.
No, I think it's Ponce. Let me try to see the. Is that him? The little tail.
Yeah, what's his name?
Daniel Ponce de Leon.
Ponce de Leon. There you go, Ponce de Leon.
Yeah,
Man, that guy was a
he
savage.
fought Mares. He fought
Yeah,
Mares.
he fought a few top guys. He fought a few top guys, and he gave them hell. Even when he lost, he gave them hell.
Yeah,
I
no, he's a
know.
really
I
good
missed
fighter. I
most of
love
his
him.
career. Like I only got to see him like right before he started, before he was declining or in retirement mode. But they were also some good, fights. So I
He
understand what you're saying.
yeah, he fought Bronner towards the end of his career too.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
And I think when he
He gave
retired,
Bronner the business.
yeah, he did. He gave everybody he fought the business, even when he won and lost. But I
Yeah.
think after he retired too, he became like a major or like some type of county something in his tribe, and that's also cool.
Yeah.
Like he put his people since day one, and he pretty much he still do it until now. You gotta
That's
He's
respect
al-
true.
that.
he's
Yeah,
also a fan of the show, guys. We did an interview, me and Lucas, with
I think he's
him.
been on 2 or 3 times.
Man,
Yeah, a
Oh.
I think he's
couple of times, several
that's
times.
what's
that's
up.
early,
Man, I would have
early
loved to
heavy
be on
bag.
that one.
Yeah,
Great interviewer too. Great
yeah,
guy.
no,
Oh
he's
yeah,
good.
yeah, yeah, yeah. He's done a few commentary in a few fights.
All right, guys, let's talk the rematch. Taylor
Yes, sir.
Serrano too. I can't fucking wait. This is gonna be the best one. Let's dive into first the odds. So
Okay.
Serrano, a little bit of an underdog. I'm going Serrano. I think Serrano won the
Me
first
too.
one. I think she won it
Agree.
with volume.
Oh,
With
women.
The
say what?
biggest punches, the more significant punches.
Yes, I mean everything that I saw. Taylor seemed to also gas more. Everything led me to Serrano. I think Serrano's going to turn up the heat even more. I think this is. I don't want to say she's going to retire after this, Javi, but I do believe Serrano. This is going to be possibly one of the last fights. This is going to be one of her big money fights as well. So she may be staring down retirement. And what a
This is
great,
the
great
biggest.
career she's had.
This is the biggest paid women's bout of all times. They
Wow.
are breaking the record for the best paid
Don't let the
women's
girl
fight.
hear that. Don't let the girl hear that. The girl is not gonna like that shit. The girl is
Uh,
gonna come and say, "Yay, blah 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 blah." Ain't nobody trying to hear that shit. These
Not
Hey,
women went
it's
at it,
dollars and cents. That's all it is. It's there in black and white. They got the
and
not
biggest.
and,
not just
and
They're
to
that
be
making the
either.
honest,
most money.
to be
But
honest, here guys, they deserve every penny from that purse because that first
exactly.
fight was nothing
Hmm.
but fireworks. The first fight, I also believe Serrano won, and but it was a close fight,
that
and
was.
they gave it their all. So come around this time, they got this is not like they're running back to back right away. It's been a few years since then. So there's been some wear and tear, some other outside the ring things happening to both of them. So we don't know how they're gonna come into it, but if they give us at least half of what happened last time, we're gonna have a hell of a fight. But I feel like as usual, sometimes this is the beautiful thing about rematches is because when you have two elite fighters going at it and they one of them lost, but the fight was close. And sometimes we have like a bullshit decision because I believe that was a bullshit decision. Then usually the better quality will rise up to the top. It will make the difference, and it will be a lot more clear on the rematch. And I believe that's what was going to happen. Now I'm not sure. I know that we're pushing for 3 minute rounds for the ladies. I'm not sure if that went through or not, or they're still going to be having the 2 minutes
This
because
is
I feel like the 2 minutes
this is
benefit Katie Taylor. It
10 minutes.
doesn't benefit Amanda. So
I agree
because on
with
the last fight, she had Taylor a few rounds hurt, and because of the 2 minutes, she was able to recoup, hold in there, and come back. If that fight go 3 minutes, I feel like that wouldn't even go to the decision. One of them is gonna stop the other. I
And
believe
that
if it
is
goes
the
3 minutes.
issue with all the women's bouts. Is like once they can get someone hurt, and it's time to like really put the pressure on. That bell is ringing for 2 minutes. So
Yeah,
that's one of the controversies about whether to do 3 minutes or not. But I my thing is, although I feel like Serrano won the first fight, I feel like Katie Taylor has been in those two fights with Chantel Cameron, and she like really showed her ability to rise to the occasion in that rematch. And she really honed in and brought back some of her old skills that she might have like stopped relying on in fights before that. And I feel like Serrano has had stay busy fights. Like I feel like her fights are just keeping her more busier. But on the flip side, Taylor has had more of a significant competitor in Cameron. So it's kind of hard for me to be like, ooh, is Serrano gonna be like even more better, or is Katie Taylor's more difficult fight win gonna help her be more a slicker in this fight with Serrano? So it's kind of like a toss up for me right now. I don't know which one to go with. I would love, like, it's like I want Serrano to win, but I know that I won't be disappointed if Taylor were to win either. So, I mean, that's when you know it's a great fight. It's a
Well,
great match.
Shakur don't never pick a winner.
they're fighting.
That is so untrue.
They're,
James will tell you, I've had a good run right now on our new predictions.
I think you're in the lead. Uh, yeah, but they're fighting this fight, Amanda Serrano. This is at super light, and I know that Serrano's never fought at this weight before. So I'm hoping that in somehow, some way, it's to her advantage, because Katie Taylor seems to be a little bit bigger framed, and so that's something that I think about a lot. You know, when fighters coming up from 26 and 30 and then 35 and now super light, hopefully she can deal with having to fight with someone in that division. It's a little
Well,
different.
so far she's been able to carry her power up with her
Mhm.
whenever she did go up for different challenges. So if that's the case, then she's still gonna have that serious weapon of the power. Um, and Katie Taylor wants to stay away from that. So, you know, I don't think that Katie should fight the way that she fought the first fight. Like, I think she should have a different strategy because they were just brawling, you know, standing right in the pocket at each other. And I don't think that's what Katie Taylor should be doing um, with in a fight with Serrano, because she does have heavy hands.
I think if Katie Taylor's got an advantage here is that her competition has been outstanding, and for both of them, I guess. But Katie Taylor's been busy. She's kept busy. She's been defending her belts and has seen a lot of great competition in Chantel Cameron. She's split. She's 1-1 there. So
Mhm.
this is going to be a war. And someone was mentioning something about this being the highest purse, biggest purse
Yeah,
for fights.
for women
It
fights.
should be the highest purse for any fight based on what they do.
Oh yeah, okay. I'm with you, James.
So
Tell it.
I'm not hearing any
The I've
predictions.
ever seen is Taylor Serrano ever, and you know they're making a fraction of what the men make.
Right.
But
I
I
mean, but
guess I'll
this
jump
fight
in
will
here
help.
or not.
This type of fight does break that glass ceiling, and it allows for, you know, maybe not the next 2 or 3 fights for women boxers to make that kind of money, but you know it's gonna bubble up to another future generation of women boxers making more or having the
Yeah,
opportunity to at least prove that they can bring in crowds and make more. So
yeah, no,
this is a huge barrier that could be broken,
yeah.
you
I'm not
know.
expecting any radical change here in the way they pay these ladies, but yeah, it's an improvement, and I'm
Mhm.
sure you'll see the results on Friday night.
Yeah.
So
Go ahead, bro.
nope. I'll
Yeah.
go
Nope.
last.
Nope. Nope. Go ahead.
I'll go last.
Nope. Go ahead.
So not only are y'all right, and this is just my lead up into what I think about this fight and what's gonna happen. But not only are y'all right about the purse, okay, but let's fail to mention where they're fighting at, y'all. this will be the biggest gate ever for a woman's fight. This will be the highest watched fight in women's boxing history. So they're breaking all the records here. And that being said, Lucas, put up that last topic that you put up there.
Oh, you wanted to see that again? Katie Taylor,
Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano have already agreed to a trilogy, and the third bout being 12 rounds, 3 minutes, which means this will be by far not only the greatest women's trilogy in the history of the sport, but one of the greatest boxing trilogies that we've ever seen in this sport.
But I don't like when they announce that it's going to be a trilogy before they even fight. Like, let us try to, like, see, like, okay, hopefully it would be 1-1, you know? Katie Taylor already won the first fight, and then Serrano wins the second fight. Now we see that, okay, that's a great trilogy. That's a great setup for a trilogy to break the tie. But when you announced it before, I'm like, now you got me thinking of the stuff that I don't want to think.
The caveats,
I'm there with you.
In this third bout make it intriguing no matter who wins the rematch. And that's it being 12 rounds. That's it being 12 3-minute rounds. And we don't know what weight
and
they
that
will
sounds
agree
like
to
a retirement
either.
fight. That sounds
So that
like
probably is going to
for
be
both
that.
women. That's what it sounds
But
like to me.
that's a hell of a thing to say that this is by far the biggest fight on this card. And that being said, some of the things that y'all alluded to in this fight. So I think you're right, Shakura. I think seeing what Katie Taylor did after a loss was a big moment for Katie Taylor. That was her medal moment. That's what where we see what she's made of. And she's really made of everything a great fighter, champion caliber fighter, Hall of Fame caliber fighter is made of, improving what she did there. That being said, though, we're now going to see what Amanda Serrano is capable of doing after defending a loss, and a disappointing loss against Katie Taylor. So she has everything in her favor to where she's going to want to show us what she's capable of doing, what she's made of, and really that she deserved to win that first bout, which was highly contested and very close. Okay?
Yes.
So those things all leading up to this fight. Now, who's going to win?
Go ahead, tell us who you got.
Katie Taylor, y'all. Katie Taylor is tough as a man in that ring. Tough. And forgive me, but I'm a little pissed off at Amanda for that shit that happened in PR. I'm a little mad about that, okay? Because she knew she was hurt and she still showed up to fight, which shows toughness and all of that, but she knew she was wrong. She shouldn't have put us fans through that. So I'm a little bit upset with her in that.
I'm with you.
But she did bounce back. She had another victory. She's been doing very well under Jake Paul. But I give a little edge still to Katie Taylor, y'all. Katie just has that gritness, that toughness, just like she did in the first fight. And Serrano said, I'm going to start this fight like I should have finished the fight in the 5th round of the first fight. And
that's the 13th round.
And I think she should, but guess what? I still think Katie Taylor outgrits her. I think she outgrits her, and she wins a very, very tough contested fight.
I don't know. Serrano is definitely the more thinking fighter. I see her having a huge advantage here. I was trying to put up the punch stats from last time. It's not really very easy to see. I guess I could do it full screen like this. So let me remove this. Guys, look at the punch stats. I mean, you're looking at round 5, 114 punches thrown. Serrano is going to be on her A game. You're going to be expecting a lot of volume. This is going to be one of her standout fights. She has to win this fight, especially to make anybody want to see the rubber match anyway. This is a must win. And Serrano knows what she has to do. I think she's going to have to go the body more often. She's going to have to, especially because this fight is 2-minute rounds. This is 10-round fight with the 2-minute limit. The next fight, which apparently is already being planned out, is the one that's going to be the 12 rounds for 3 minutes. So she's going to have to really put that body work in and slow Katie Taylor down and then finish her off. I don't think, like you said, Rob, I do think she's got enough grit that she's going to be able to hang in there no matter what. But I think Serrano's putting the beating on her. Katie Taylor might even score a knockdown, but it's not going to matter. Serrano's going to win this one unanimous decision and force that rubber match.
Now, let me say one last thing, though. Hopefully, it's not tainted because she is promoted by Jake Paul.
I got to admit that it has a little bit of a bad taste in my mouth, but we'll get to that, I think, when we talk.
I don't think so because, Most Valuable Promotion was the one that did Shadeja Green versus Franchon Cruz fight. So, but Franchon was able to get she got the win. And it was easily scored in her favor. So I don't necessarily think that that's what that means, especially when they already know, regardless, they're having a trilogy. They're having a third fight. So it's just up to them to make it super competitive and entertaining so that more fans that watch this rematch want to see that trilogy fight too, whether it's a Mike Tyson on the card or not.
Well, I say that because I honestly think this one is still going to be so close that you could contest it either way. I do think there's going to be a legit winner, but I'm just saying I definitely think whoever loses this bout will be in it to the end close enough to where they'll argue that they've been robbed.
No, my only concern is that this is a super light, and I don't see Amanda Serrano. I know that she's not fought at this weight before, and that could produce some difficulty there. Hopefully, she carries the weight well and brings that power with her. But in the end, I just, I honestly don't care who wins. I just want to see a real barn burner, like we did.
I think she went up for her last fight. She went up to, what was it, 135, Lucas?
Yeah.
I think so. She tested it out with the Stevie. I think her last name is Stevie Morgan. Mm-hmm. So she tested out that weight and she looked pretty good to me. And I feel like, I know Rob is saying Katie Taylor got a lot of grit, but I do feel like Amanda Serrano got that same damn type of grit. Like they are evenly matched when it comes to their grit.
8 division world champion for a reason.
Right.
She's up there.
The impressive part.
Lucas, let's get to the fight we all been waiting for.
All right. Tyson-Paul, guys, let me go ahead. I have a short little hype thing to play for our talk.
Movement's great. Agility is great.
13, 14, breathe.
Conditioning is amazing. Power is unbelievable.
Nice one.
That was the best we've seen him yet. It's gonna be a rough night.
Your blood flowing, I don't know what will. You're watching the wrong goddamn show. Oh man, Mike Tyson, I love the guy. And you immediately when I think about this fight, I got to go back to the Roy Jones Jr. fight, right? He prepared pretty well for that fight. And call me crazy, guys, I think Tyson held back against Roy Jones Jr.
Right.
Because there were punches that like I seen him loading up and he just like stops. And I'm like, that's not Tyson. Tyson would have punched through that. And
it is exhibition.
Yeah, that's what it is. And even though they're billing this as a pro fight, I'm still taking it as an exhibition. I'm still thinking this is not going to be a balls to the wall, try to knock each other out type.
There's some stipulations here. Like I read them recently. I just forget exactly what it said. Like no knockout.
I'll tell you, no, that is not true.
Also, it's 8 by 2-minute rounds.
It is 8 by 2 minutes. Knockouts are
that
allowed.
Helps Tyson. That does help Tyson.
Knockouts are allowed. It is 8 rounds, 2-minute rounds. But the biggest caveat is the 14-ounce gloves. 14-ounce gloves.
That's pretty level.
Yeah, I mean, 2 minutes does favor Mike Tyson. But I just still feel like if it goes past 4 rounds, then Mike can't do as much. I think that's when we're gonna start seeing a significant dive into stamina. But
I'm not sold on this as a fight. I think that.
Well, right, me neither. But we're just talking about like the fans and how they're into it. So I'm going with that.
That's all good. That's all good. It's all fine. This is just eye candy for Jake Paul clientele, and that's what it is. And that's all fine because he's promoting the sport in his way, doing things his way, and that's all fine. It's a free country. But the idea is that I don't expect an all-out war here either. Simply, and I hate to be Debbie Downer, but it's just not going to be a super killer brawl or anything like that. Mike Tyson's about 60 years old.
Yeah,
okay, so I told y'all I'm very passionate.
But the fans are into it and they want to go for Mike Tyson, and I feel like we should just go with being excited for these fans that just want to see Mike Tyson active. And just and it is still amazing. It still is amazing that he can be in that type of shape at his age, 57, I think. I mean, it still is amazing that he can go through the entire fight camps with the marketing and the promotions and doing everything that a younger boxer does. And it is also amazing that you did just have a serious hernia issue and you bounced back from that and started right back training, because it just shows his fortitude and his mindset. You know what I'm saying? Like, so regardless of what happens in the fight, I still think that it's pretty damn amazing that we have Mike Tyson at his age being able to train, look good, and look still quick in the ring, even in his training regimen. So, I mean, I'm still excited to see Mike Tyson. I know that, globally, a lot of fans are just watching so they can see that moment for Mike Tyson. And when you think about the lifespan of his career and the ups and downs and the total, depressive times that he's had in his life, to be able to fight and make this kind of money and still be relevant in the sport on this level, it's really significant. It's really positive. And that's what I want to, take away from this fight.
So let me start my spiel. Go ahead.
No. Go ahead. You good?
So let me start my spiel right there, James. Because I saw the countdown. I saw the lead up and everything. And here's what it is. Here's truly what it means with Tyson. When you think of a fighter and you think of the true definition of a fighter, Mike is it. Mike is it. He's been a fighter his whole entire life. Like he said coming into this fight, yes, he's more reserved. Yes, he's trying to keep up with the younger generation and talk a little smack and everything, but he's still very well reserved. He's trying to hold himself together. When he steps in the ring, he's not. He's Iron Mike. And it's not going to shut off. And it's not going to turn off. Now, let me go back to saying why he's doing this fight. Because the man has lived up to this legacy for so long that now it's becoming a damn myth. The kids haven't seen it. This new generation hasn't seen it. They're only seeing clips and highlights. They haven't seen the true Mike Tyson that we did. They haven't seen the Iron Mike Tyson, the fearfulness stepping into that ring. So now he's had to live the whole rest of his life with that legacy, but to these youngsters, it's really just a myth. So now he has a chance to actually show people that that myth is true. It's true. I am the baddest man on the planet. I am to be feared, and I don't care who I step in the ring with at any stage in my life. To back that up, what Shakur was talking about was not a hernia, guys. It was an ulcer.
Oh, that's what I meant to say. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
The man could have died. He could have died. He said in the countdown, I asked the doctor, well, what is it? Am I dying? And she said, well, we have options. And she didn't say you're not going to die, which made me worried. Okay? But then what you exactly said is right, Shakur. He got his butt back in that gym right after he saw Jake Paul fight Mike Perry, because he knew he needed to ramp up himself and get back and get ready. And guess what he said about that? He said, I don't want to die in no hospital. I want to die in the ring. So yes, James, this fight is legit. This fight is legit. And we know what it means for Jake Paul. We know what it means for Jake Paul. If he loses this fight, he might lose all credibility in the ring. Do you not agree with that, Lucas? Because who's going to want to fight a guy who lost to a 58-year-old man?
That's the caveat of the whole thing, is like, it's a win and a lose. It doesn't matter, because you lost to fucking Mike Tyson, right? They're going to say, hey, you lost to Mike. He already lost to fucking Tommy Fury. Who the fuck is Tommy Fury? He's beat nobody. He's done nothing in the sport anyway. But we forget that, right? Jake Paul is I'm going to say Tyson is capable enough to beat Paul. I'm going to come back to Mr. Steve Alexander's comment here. The Tyson versus Paul fight is boxing's version of the WWE, pure entertainment and money for an old washed up fighter. Shame boxing.
So
part of me agrees.
I don't normally do this, but I disagree. I disagree with them. And here's why. Tyson is living off of that legacy, that myth that I've been talking about, and he's doing well living by that, because people are still buying into it and probably will forever buy into that legacy. So he's doing just fine. He's not doing bad to where he needs the money. Yes, is it a hell of an opportunity to make some money? Yes. But again, he's looking at it as my opportunity to show these people that this myth is true. It's not just a myth, it's facts. I am that bad.
I'm going back and forth. Part of me agrees with the comment, that the Tyson-Paul being version of WWE. Part of me thinks that, Tyson and Paul they're very friendly. I don't think Tyson wants to do bodily harm to Paul. And I think the same, Paul doesn't necessarily want to do bodily harm to Tyson. Now,
it's a fun fight. It's a great opportunity for boxing fans to get reignited into the sport and feel that feeling that they feel like it's been missing since a Mike Tyson type heavyweight champion.
It's for all
existing.
of
I
that,
mean,
Shakur. It's
it's
for
it's
all of
like
that.
it's not just about like who's gonna win and if it's fake or not, or if it's this or that. It's also about like boxing fans that miss that nostalgia, that
It's for
miss seeing
all of
somebody
that.
like a Mike
That
Tyson in fear, a place fear in the hearts of their opponents. Like they
it's for
miss that.
it's for people that miss these fight nights, Lucas. And what you're saying, I don't think it's going to be true. I think that we're going to sit here next Tuesday and y'all are going to be pleasantly surprised about how good of a fight this actually was and how real it got in that ring.
There's no living legend other than Mike Tyson that when he says, I'm going to get back in that ring, that anybody else would run to the TV to see. There is nobody else. Roy Jones Jr., when he fought him, nobody cared about Jones. They're like, Tyson! Everybody cares about Tyson. Don't nobody give a shit about nobody else. I hope that I'm wrong because I've questioned Paul's previous fights. I'm not even sure any of them are on the up and up, if I'm being completely honest. Now, I think if you don't do something on the up and up in an actual fight, actually trying to hurt each other, actually trying to fight a real fight, you're doing a disservice to everybody that was on the undercard. You just shit on everything that they did. So I really hope that Tyson wouldn't do that to the sport, Paul wouldn't do that to the sport, and his own fighters. But we're going to have to wait to see, guys. That's part of the fun of this, is you don't know. Is Tyson going to carry him like he did Jones? Because I really think he could have knocked out Jones. The difference is there wasn't really supposed to be knockouts, right? Like they were holding back. This one says like that they're allowing the knockouts. Yeah. So I'm thinking Tyson may actually want to do it. Call me crazy, but at the end of that Tyson versus Jones fight, I could tell there was still a little bit of hunger in there. Like I think he wants it. He wants one more knockout. He wants that legacy to end, not by losing to some Disney dude. He wants to end it with another knockout, one final knockout. Is he going to do it? I certainly fucking hope so. Am I going to predict for this fight? No, because it's not. I didn't even count for me as a real fight. All I'm going to say is Tyson is boxing that I know and love. Paul is boxing that I know and I despise. So I hope the old boxing, Tyson can come out and just get a big knockout.
So that's a part of the allure too, Lucas. Just like when you watched Mayweather, they watched to see him lose. They hated May. There was the haters out there. Same thing with Jake Paul. He's getting booed out in every city that they go to.
And he's feeding off of it.
They want to see him get knocked out. So that's all a part of the allure.
We definitely would like to see that. I know I would.
Yeah, he's feeding into being that heel type, character for this fight. And it's all because, you already know that there's so many people that love Mike, so why not, go lean into that. And then it's an opportunity when they get in the ring for him to be able to show that he's not just a one-trick pony, but that he is constantly trying to learn boxing and learn more moves and skills and set up punches. But I tell you what, if Jake Paul knocks out Mike Tyson for real, he's never seen such a ferocious type hate use that he will be receiving if he were to do that. So I don't think it's in his favor for him to actually try to get a knockout of Mike Tyson, because it's not going to be good publicly if that was to happen. Now, if Mike Tyson gets a knockout, then it's fine with everybody, and they'll actually be like, okay, I kind of like Jake. Yeah. Like, it's okay when you actually even get knocked out by a legend, because like you said, you still fought a legend.
That's true. I mean, honestly, Paul letting Tyson knock him out would be more beneficial to him than him knocking out Paul.
Right.
because he's
And
just
do
going to
you
get
really think
judged.
that it's gonna go 8 rounds, or they're gonna stop it sooner than 8
Right.
rounds? I don't think that it's gonna go 8 rounds.
It's
It,
all, it's all simple entertainment. That's all.
it,
I
Well,
wouldn't
even
doubt
if it is, I still don't see it lasting
that.
8 rounds.
It's all predetermined and rehearsed. Whatever it is fine. It's people, you know, exercising the rights here and, in a sense, taking advantage of the sport, which is the part that I don't dig. But it is what it is. There's, you
Well,
can't.
no, because they're not taking advantage of the sport. And you know why? Because these promoters have made this lane. They've created this lane by not giving us the matchups and the multitude of fights that need to happen in a year.
They're
I
not
mean,
playing.
they're ones, the boxing community is the one that opened up the lane for boxing entertainment like this.
Yes, it's
So,
entertainment. All it is.
Hold
but what I'm
on, hold
saying
on, hold
is,
on,
it's
James. Let
not.
me ask you a question, James. Is boxing not ever been entertainment?
It is. It is. But this is beyond that. Basically,
No, no.
is
The problem is that in the sport now we don't have enough entertainment. We don't
Yep.
have personalities. We have guys ducking other guys. We have guys that are just about money.
at
All
the
they
same
care
time.
about is money.
At the
They
same
don't
time, boxing
give
is.
a damn about the sport.
It's never been
Jake
better.
Jake Paul is building boxing gyms throughout Puerto Rico for
That's all
free
good. That's all
for the people in Puerto Rico.
excellent.
He's single-handedly brought the women's boxing sport all the way back to the forefront. What is anybody else doing? What is Terrence Crawford doing? Hell, what is Canelo doing? What are
what
they
is
doing?
Tank
I ain't hear you say
doing?
tank. What
Well,
about your tank? You ain't
Tank,
say
that's
you
right.
didn't say tank in that.
Look,
I
no,
mean,
I'm a counter you, Rob. I think all boxing is now is entertainment. That is all it is. We have lost the sport. The sport part is long gone. Just like I said earlier, you have champions fighting like some of the worst ranked dudes out there. We saw it with Garcia and Salka. I know everybody hates to hear me say it, but come on, this is what we get. This is the sport that we were left with. I I hate that it's entertainment now. I do. This
I
at
mean,
least
but what
makes
I'm saying is,
more sense as
here's
entertainment.
you
another
got
important part.
boxers like Canelo only fighting twice a year. That's the face of boxing. You got
Crawford
Tank.
has
He only
fought
fought one
once.
time this
Tank
year.
fought
Crawford
once.
only fought one time. Like what I'm saying is, there's not enough boxing to be able to get mad at someone for creating their own lane in the sport,
But
because
the
that's
idea
what they've allowed. That's
the
what they've
idea
allowed.
is, what he's done is, outside of the ring and build gyms in Puerto Rico and bring women's um fighting to the forefront, and that's like you said, that's all fine. But the means to it is entertainment, creating these fights with fighters that are not professional fighters, creating fights that are with ex MMA guys or ex basketball players. That's all fine. That's what it is. That's what I take it as. I'm not
Well,
bothered by
guess what? When
it.
he fought a couple of
I'm not watching
actual
it.
boxers, nobody wanted to watch. The numbers were shit. When he
Yes,
was fighting, when he fought 2 times in Orlando, and it was real boxers, the numbers weren't that good.
if you
So
buy someone,
naturally, he's gonna go back to fighting and making more money with celebrity type fights in order to facilitate the money he needs to continue women's boxing, to continue grassroots efforts of bringing boxing gyms back to Puerto Rico, and possibly some boxing gyms here and inside of the states. I'm just saying that it's like you we say we want certain things, but then when somebody gives it to us, we shit on it as boxing
yeah,
fans
he
too.
hasn't fought a professional
So
fight.
we can't get
He's
mad
fought,
when he actually
he's
did
fought,
try that.
he's fought a few tomato cans, and that's all he's fought. He hasn't
But
fought a solid fighter.
That's the same thing.
but
Somebody
guess
that's
what,
He's just
wanted
not
James?
that
He has
good.
done nothing.
He's
any
just not that good.
prospect would be fighting
He's not,
people like that.
he's done
Go to
nothing.
any prospect's record, and they're really just honing in on their own skills and fighting people with lesser boxing records, as 1 in 10.
But guess
Even
what,
up to
James?
14
Lucas?
fights, they're fighting a certain level of fighter. So he's not doing anything different than any other prospect.
Guess what, guys? But guess what?
Yeah, what's that?
When Jake Paul, and I did say when Jake Paul beats Mike Tyson, it's only gonna get worse. He's
So you're
calling out
saying you're predicting
Canelo
Jake
next.
Paul?
He's calling out Canelo next. He wants a championship fight next. When Jake Paul beats Mike Tyson, guys, it's going to get worse. He's going to start calling out bigger and bigger and bigger names.
Everybody's calling out Canelo.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, there's nothing new about that, you know.
I don't know.
Everybody's called out Canelo because that's a money top
Pay,
level
payday.
fighter, as they say.
I don't know.
But
I still
still, I'm
think.
just simply saying.
I
Hello?
was waiting for
I
you.
can't hear you.
No, I was waiting for you. You were just
Oh, I
starting.
was waiting on you.
If it's on the up and up, I think it's semi even because, like we said, I mean, Tyson has a boxing background. He's already a legend. The problem is he's 58 years old, right? Jake Paul is kind of the opposite, right? He's more of a pretender.
He started late.
Yeah, more of a pretending. Late. He's not really that good. He lost to a Tommy Fury, so it does equal somewhat back out. The question is the age. And, you know, in boxing, we have a saying that, you know, Father Time.
I don't think he looked that bad against Tommy Fury, to be honest. I thought it was gonna, but
it was a split decision. It was
a split decision. I don't think he looked that bad against him. But my thing is what you're saying is basically like it's more of an even fight when you introduce the thought process that it's really like a prospect fighting a retired coming back fighter.
Yeah, exactly. Like, so he knows the tricks of the trade and how to throw a punch 10 times better than Jake Paul ever will. So if he lands, I think he can still cause some damage. Power is one of the last things to leave a man. So he still's got that puncher's chance. Is this dangerous on the up and up? I don't think we're ever going to know. And they're not going to let anybody know on that secret. I really hope that it is. Regardless, I know this is a circus, and I've hated Jake Paul in most of his fights doing all of that kind of stuff. But at least this one has a high value as far as the opponent that he's facing. If Mike Tyson's in a fight, I'm going to want to watch it.
Well, what do you think? I mean, you know, I mean, even if you don't think it's real, it still is going to benefit. I still think that it's really going to benefit the sport globally.
I don't. And the reason I don't is because
have a scripted boxing match sanctioned by a goddamn commission. Don't be stupid, y'all. A commission is not.
Are you new to boxing? Are you new to boxing? Have you not heard of fights getting fixed before? Come on, man. Fight. This is boxing. Of course it could be scripted. Maybe not like per punch, but the winner already being decided. Fuck yeah, I bet that could be decided.
Come on, they're sanctioning a 2-minute fight for men.
Yeah, look, they're breaking all these rules and changing stuff just to accommodate it.
What sense does that make?
Zero. Exactly. It is what it is. I don't know.
Y'all didn't answer my question though, but you say you don't feel like it would be beneficial to activate boxing fans to other fights that are on the card and to other boxers that's on the card that can impress them.
It already is beneficial to them. We've discussed why.
We don't.
We've already discussed why.
Because
and we don't. And it's not going to. You're not drawing viewers in.
No,
you're not drawing any new
viewers. But if these people are really watching because it's Mike Tyson, that means that they were real boxing fans prior, which means that they will like the undercard and the matchups and what's going on.
I doubt it. So here's my take. Here's my honest take. I don't think most of the common fans who are buying this are going to pay close attention to any of these fucking fights. Us boxing pundits are going to love it and watch the rest of these undercards. But the common fans are the common fans for a reason. They're tuning into this other fight, right? And just like when Tyson fought Jones, they were like, oh, if he wins, he's making a title run. I saw that shit everywhere, and I'm like, you guys are insane. They don't want what boxing is now, because it's not what it once was. They want the era of Tyson back, and that's never coming back, guys. They're wanting something that does not exist. Therefore, as soon as as Tyson's not fighting anymore, I'm not watching it anymore. That's what I think is honestly going to happen.
So Shakur, to answer what Lucas is saying, okay, I threw a fight party out there thinking what Lucas is saying, that ain't nobody really gonna come out to see it yet, because number one, it's already free on Netflix and they don't want to see the undercard and blah blah. My list went from 5 to 10 to 15. It's at 30 people. And if you're a common fan and you're at my house watching this fight, you're gonna listen to everything loud and clear. And I will shush y'all. I will shush y'all to watch this great boxing that'll be on display that night.
That's the main reason why Emilio and I stopped having boxing parties, because we got tired of shushing people, and we're like, no, I want to hear everything, and I don't have time for these people coming over.
Exactly.
And guess what, baby? I don't want to cook for these people either. Okay, they want you to actually give them food as well. So no, we're not having any more boxing parties. Plus, I can just sit in my nightgown and be comfortable and watch the fight in silence. I don't have to hear people in the background talking about, see, I would have went to the left and threw a hook to the body, and then you're like,
talking.
You're right. Yeah, because everybody trying to talk to me. I'm sitting here like staring, and you just got somebody talking to me. You ain't even listening, are you? I'm like, no, I'm watching the fucking fight. Leave me alone.
Yes.
I got good at it, y'all. I know how to tune them out, and I hear what they're saying, but I'm so in tune with the bout. Yeah, I'm a pro at it now.
But
no,
does
I'm
anybody
just like,
think
I don't want to deal with it no more. I don't want people over. I just want to watch the fight in peace. I want to hear everything the commentators have to have so I can shit on it. And then I want to just have a great time and be relaxed with just me and Emilio and texting my heavy bag boxing group.
Well, try grilling a bunch of grub for everybody while all this shit's going on.
Oh yeah.
Like the whole time I'm like busy.
I did it smart, James.
And I don't see any of the undercard. That's what was happening.
You gotta order out, James. You gotta order out.
I took Friday off, and I got about 16 pounds of chicken wings, and I'm cooking that stuff all day, baby. All day. So when y'all come to my house,
but that's not what
chicken
Lucas
wings
was
is
saying,
ready.
though.
Hold on.
Lucas was saying
what
just
city you
because
in
people
again?
watch this fight, they're not going to actually come and tune back in to see Serrano versus Taylor 3. That's what he's saying.
They gonna have to at my house.
Well, I don't know where you live, but I'm on my way.
Right. Hey Siri, get me directions to Atlanta.
Yeah, give me directions to the grilled chicken.
All right, guys. Well, been a great show. Please tune in again next Tuesday. I want everybody to come back on and tune in again for the follow-up Tough Talk to the aftermath of whatever is to be Tyson-Paul. And of course, I want everybody to tune in for not only that Netflix one on Friday, but we have that Riyadh season card on Saturday as well. That is a well-packed card. So a lot of boxing this weekend. Don't forget to check us out. Tough Talk Tuesday, every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. Pacific. Today is Wednesday, but it's special for Tyson. Y'all have a good night, and we'll see you next week.